Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Vittles. I'm going to be going through lesson 1.3, day 2. It's very similar to yesterday's lesson, only today's lesson includes translating written words into equations. So the overview of the lesson is still solving 1- and 2-step equations like we did previously. We're going to understand how to translate written words into numerical form. So we're going to focus on equations today, but you can also see this as in expressions as well. We're also going to practice staying organized while we continue solving equations. Before we get into the lesson, I'm going to go ahead and go through the warm-up. Just a reminder, at any point you can pause the video if you haven't had a chance to try the warm-up on your own, and then go back and start the video again to go ahead and check your answers. So answer the following questions. So I'll work on a piece of paper. What is 5 less than 12? 5 less than 12. So I would do 12 minus 5 would be 5 less than 12, which would give me 7. Number 2, what is 1/2 of 10 plus 3? 1/2 of 10 plus 3. 1/2 of 10 is 5. 5 plus 3 gives me 8. So this is just practicing that translating words into algebraic expressions. So for today's lesson, a lot of our problems are going to be written as words, and we have to go ahead and make our equation from those words. When we are translating algebraic expressions or equations, there's some key words for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division to look for. So when you see anything, if you see the words sum of, more than, increase by, added to, that should be a big indicator that you're going to use addition. For subtraction, you may see decreased by, difference, less than, minus, subtracted from. One big key thing here, with subtraction, the order matters. So how you actually read the words makes a huge deal of how you're actually going to write the expression or the equation. So we're going to come back to that. Order matters. A big thing here too is the word than. When you see the word than, you're going to switch the order of the terms. And there's going to be some examples in here that I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. But we just saw it in our warm-up as well. What is 5 less than 12, right? That's 12 minus 5. So that word than told me to put that minus 5 after the 12. Okay. For multiplication, some key words are times, multiplied by, product, and groups of. And then for division, divided by, quotient. And then just remember, I think I mentioned this in the last lesson, to start using a fraction bar with division. So we're going to try to not use that little division symbol anymore and use a fraction bar in place of it. So let's go ahead and try some of these. So first one, so we're going to read these words and translate the words into math expressions. So the quotient of a number and 5. So big thing here, quotient, okay? That means division, right? Remember with division, order matters. What I mean by that is the quotient of a number and 5. Okay, a number is going to be your variable. And unless it says, normally you can choose any variable you want. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the variable x. So the quotient of a number and 5, here the order matters. So what that means is a number comes first, and it's going to be divided by 5. So the quotient of a number and 5 means x is going to be our numerator divided by 5. Next one, 2 less than a number. Like I mentioned before, that word than means that I'm going to write this as that number, and then 2 less than that number is going to be x minus 2. Okay, so when you see that word than, you're going to kind of switch the order of the terms. 5 is less than a number. This is a trick. This is a trick. Be careful. Is less than means that this is going to be an inequality. So I would write this as 5 is less than a number. Sorry about that. Okay, 5 is less than a number. So that one is actually an inequality. Last one for number 4, the quantity of a number and 4. When you see that word quantity, in algebra, a lot of times when you see quantity, that indicates like parentheses. So quantity of a number and 4, I'm going to write as parentheses x plus 4 to show that quantity together. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our first equation. So again, the actual solving of the equations is very similar to the previous lesson. The only difference here is we're translating those words into math equations. And really, this is to practice because we're going to get into word problems where we have to read the word problem, create equations, and solve those equations in order to solve the word problem, right? So that's what we're kind of starting to practice more here. So 12 more than twice a number is 8. So I have 12 more than twice a number is always indicates that equals. Okay, so 12 more than, remember that keyword than as well. So that's going to be 12 more than twice a number is 2 times a number is my equal sign 8. So my equation that I'm going to solve is 2x plus 12 equals 8. So again, my goal is to isolate the variable. So in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. 2x goes ahead and drops down. 12 minus 12, that cancels out, equals 8 minus 12 gives me negative 4. So right now 2 is being multiplied by x. I need to undo that operation of multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. 2x divided by 2 is just 1x, or x equals negative 2. And that is my solution. So I'm going to go ahead and circle and box that. So one thing that I wanted to mention as well is we really want to focus on staying organized, showing every step of solving, and your final answer is always going to look like, it's kind of like going to be a funnel down, right? Because we are simplifying this until we have that variable isolated and we're done solving. Okay, so our work's almost going to look like a funnel. All right, moving on to number 6. Just a reminder, stop this at any point and go ahead and try these on your own, and then push play and check your answers with my work. So 2 times the quantity of 5 less than a number is negative 3. Let's go ahead and write this out. So 2 times the quantity indicates parentheses 5 less than a number. That's where I'm going to go ahead and switch those terms, right? It's 5 less than the number is negative 3. Here I have to go ahead and use the distributive property first and distribute that 2. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times -5, -10 equals -3. Going to add 10 to both sides. 2x drops down equals 7. Sorry, I'm running out of space. Divide by 2, divide by 2, I get x equals 7 halves, or 3.5. Nice job. Let's go ahead and move to example number 7. The quotient of a number and 5 is 3. So quotient indicates division. Again here, order matters, right? So the quotient of a number and 5, the order tells you exactly what's going to be in the numerator and what's going to be in the denominator, is our equal sign 3. So in order to solve this, I have x divided by 5 equals 3. I want to undo the operation of division and go ahead and multiply both sides by 5, which is the same thing as multiplying by 5 over 1. In this case, you could read it as 5x divided by 5. It's just 1x. But what you also want to start looking for is like cross-canceling. And I have x equals 3 times 5, 15. X equals 15. Okay. Last example, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide for our last example, number 8. 1 more than the product of a number and 10 is 7. So going through and writing this out, 1 more than the product of a number and 10 is 7. So I have 1 more than, the product is multiplication, right? A number and 10. So that's going to give me 10x. Product is multiplication, 10 times x plus 1 is our equal sign, 7. Okay, go ahead and we want to get that variable of x isolated. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. 10x equals 6. Undo this operation of multiplication, 10 times x, by dividing both sides by 10. And you get x equals 6 tenths. Okay, always want to simplify. So that can simplify into 3/5 for our final answer. All right, so lesson wrap up. Always stay organized. Show all steps for solving. Remember, order matters with subtraction and division. I also want to I'm going to go ahead and add in as well. When you see that word than, when you're translating words into math expressions or equations, to always switch that order of the terms. All right. Have a great rest of your day. See you next lesson.